I thought about Blackula. But you're about to find out what we all thought about Blackula because that's what we're gonna be talking about today. Blackula, black vampire. And I gotta say this before we even get started. I'm so happy that this movie was had more of like a serious tone instead of like the jokey kind of not taking the not taking it too serious. And it takes away sometimes it takes away when you want to see like a movie with a good story and see I'll just say a black character within horror that's taken seriously, not just the side character, not the jokey, and not the spoof movie. Which those are fun. Don't get me wrong, but I also like these ones with the more kind of serious tones, where it's like, listen, we enjoy this shit too. We really love this shit too. We need to be represented in this shit too in a serious way. And I think this movie did a good job with that. I think this movie did a really good job with that.
Can I ask a question on that note?
Yeah.
Just wondering. So, would you say that often you find in like horror movies in black cinema, if they're not made, are they silly to you for the most part if they're made by black creators or and filmmakers too? Or is that like do you see that as a standard? I'm actually wondering. I don't
Um,
have an opinion. I'm just wondering what you
honestly,
think based on
I
that.
don't know. I'd have to look into it more, but I mean, like, there's ones I do enjoy from as far as the silly ones, like the ones that the Wayans brothers have done that they've been involved with the haunted houses and the scary movies and stuff, which I mean are the more popular ones. But those I don't mind. Those I don't mind because they were like spoofing off of other movies, but it's more
Yeah.
so like when you're trying to bring a story on and then it's like just silly all the way through. That's a little different. I understand horror comedy. And I love horror comedy, as you guys all know. But then it's just like I also want to see this serious tone. I want to see to where with Blackula, like edgy, and Mick, you know this. I'm not a big fan of vampires when it comes to film. I'm not a big fan of vampires because I get bored with the romanticized of them, the romanticness of them. I think it's corny. I think it's corny because I'm like, they're bloodsuckers. They're fucking monsters. So let's stop prettying it up all the goddamn time and making it all just weird and just, oh, he's so cute. No, he's not. He's a fucking vampire. He's gonna kill you. You don't want to be with that person. Like, make it scary. You know what I mean? Make it scary. Here and there with the romance, cool. I understand people fall in love. I understand possibly vampires fall in love, but still, don't make it all about that. I think that is one big reason why I cannot stand vampires because that's just mostly what I've seen. The violent shit I love, even the subtle violence, like when it wasn't super violent, super bloody, super gory, because it was not that, but it worked. It worked with the storytelling again. It worked with the violence, and it worked with the romance and the love in it. It wasn't overly done. It was just like this he can't, the Blackula, he was in love. The vampire, the one dude took him out, Dracula took him out or whatever, and then of course his wife dies eventually, and he sees someone that represents his wife that looks just like her, and he loved his wife to death, and so that story didn't bother me like that. I actually thought they did a really good job with this, honestly. I really did. I'm happy I've seen this. But anyone of you gentlemen?
Well, I was gonna sort of talk about that with the vampire lore too, because I mean, remember, vampires are a complete allegory for rape. So, and the thing that is interesting to me is like when it comes to vampire stories is that you can take it to different sort of levels. Like we have like the more romantic side of it where we know that can happen, that type of force and assault can happen even in those situations, and then sometimes it's in a lull situation where I really like the idea of like with Sinners, it's like to play off the vampire lore as well, and like the inviting in, and we talked about this when that movie came out about how I wonder if the invite only, because vampires are an allegory for rape, I wonder if the invite only comes from sort of a lore of like women inviting men of the night in, like and having affairs, and like because that invite, it created a situation where something maybe bad could come from it, and something forceful, something that women, when they talked out about, were usually burned at the stake back in the day, things like that, when vampires were like really like being created in lore and such.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's where it comes from. But like, I don't mind the romantic when it's a setting like this. I don't want the Twilights, right? Because that's too. It's like now you're trying to justify what the meaning of vampires is, and it just doesn't work. I did like this. This to me was like, it's still sort of that allegory, but in a way where it's like it's more coveting, which I'm not defending or saying is okay,
Mm-hmm.
but that coveting of like lost love, and like there's a grief element to it, and the fact that you have William Marshall, who's such a deep actor and a Shakespearean trained actor and such, coming into it and bringing that gravitas, because this film is very much a poignant look at the 70s in Black culture, and then you add essentially a Dracula figure into it, this vampire, and it doesn't, it really works. Like there's no play for laughs here. Like it really is a good horror story with some heart to it, and I appreciate that about this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. What about you guys?
It completely blew my expectations out based on the cover and the name of it. I thought it was going to be a spoofy type movie. I thought it was going to be kind of a super silly, kind of wasting my time type, honestly. And by the time I halfway through it, I was like, all right, this is actually pretty good. You know what I mean? And I had a good time till the end.
Yeah, this movie's actually pretty high up on my list. As I was talking about it last week when we were doing Sugar Hill, I do unironically consider this movie a masterpiece in Black cinema. I discovered it around the time the pandemic happened. I was like, I went into like this Dracula rabbit hole, specifically just Dracula, and they did an excellent piece on this on the documentary Horror Noir on Shudder, which really piqued my interest in it. So, rewatching it again 5 years later, the movie still hits for me. I still like it. I like it a lot. I think William Marshall, who is a Shakespearean actor, adds a lot of gravitas to the role and that seriousness. And I could just tell by the type of actor that he was that he wasn't going to be in anything that didn't take the material seriously. And I loved it 5 years ago. I still love it now. It is definitely a classic based on his performance alone.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. And just to go back to what you were saying, Worst Damn, like the title, the title of it, I'm like, fuck, man, is this gonna be one of those? And it wasn't. I'm so glad it was. Just because you get those with spoof films, you know what I mean? It's either I'm not saying Blackula, but that sounds like one of those type of names for a spoof Dracula film. Yeah. You watch it, and it ends up being like that kind of silliness of it, and I'm glad it was a complete opposite of that.
I was expecting like a Dolomite type movie out of this with Dracula in it type. You know what I mean?
But think about this though, to take that, like Dolomite, for all of its laughs and such, was taken very seriously. It was like taken seriously as a movie as he was making it, So, and the beauty of like Black exploitation films of the 70s, and like I keep going back and talking about theirs, this at the time wasn't a parody type of. This was a way for the Black filmmaker who was making a movie that is essentially Dracula, but telling it from a Black perspective. Using Blackula as a way was almost a way, sort of, I don't want to say protest, but in a way of saying like, this one's ours. Fine, you got Dracula, we have Blackula. And like, I like that. That's like, because you have Blackenstein, you have others that really like express what the community was like drawn to. And now like it has been kind of turned around, and that's why when I hear people talk about this movie because of its name and saying how silly it is, I'm like, you need to watch the movie. It's very good. And Shaft fell under that a bit too, where it's like, oh, it's probably this. I'm like, you need to watch. That's a really good hard-nosed detective movie. That's honestly, like, compared to what Johnny's saying, like, this is one of the masterpieces of I'm not even gonna say Black cinema, just horror cinema in general. Like, I mean, it does deserve its place there. I think this, in a lot of instances and in a lot of iterations, is as good or better than most of the Dracula movies. And I'm talking about more of the mainstreams, not every Dracula movie, because there's plenty that this is better than, but more of the mainstreams, because like Dracula can be very boring over time, telling the same story over and over again. But even Scream Blackula Scream, which is inferior to this one as a sequel, is still good. It's still an enjoyable watch. You add Pam Grier to it, so it adds a little more star power and gravitas to it on that end. And it is an interesting turn there. But like when it comes to horror cinema, like this should go down as a really as a really important part of it. So I think this is just a great standout movie.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then I'm sorry to interrupt you, Aaron.
No,
Oh no,
I'm
you're
good.
good. You're good.
Um, I just the second one wasn't really as good as the first one. And honestly, I feel that what some people's interpretation of what the movie is based on the title, they get that more so in the second one than this one. I
Yeah,
think that
I agree.
uh, I don't want to say it was an aberration because it's not. I think all films quality are subjective, but um, I feel like the films that came out following Blackenstein, Doctor Hyde and Mr. Black, or Doctor
Mhm.
Jekyll and Mr. Black, there's like a dip in quality because then they just it turns into a gimmick. You
Mhm.
know, let's take this classic horror so and so and just make it black or put black in the title, right? And they really missed the nuance. Like I really feel like the director of this piece, the first one in particular, was really trying to say something. I think, honest to God, he was really trying to pay homage to those Hammer horror films or the Universal films, as the car honks behind me. Um, and I feel like that kind of gets lost the further you get into black films of the '70s.
Mm.
You get less films like Ganja and Hess and this, and you get more of, I know Rudy Ray Moore was trying, and he's an Akron legend, but you get more of the Dolomites and more of the human tornadoes as the decade goes on.
Well, if I can add to that too, John, like I think it's a popular misconception, not here, but like especially among white people, my peers, I guess I'll say, um, uh, that black exploitation films were like all the same thing. It's almost like they're putting a monolith. Like, yeah, Dolomite isn't as good as like this or Shaft, or and there's a reason for that, is because just like all filmmaking in any country in any world, there's low budget, there's high budget, there's there are things that are
Mhm.
being packed, and like Dolomite, for it was taken seriously, and I give Rudy Ray Moore a lot of credit for being an independent filmmaker and doing what he did, just like another one, Melvin
Man,
Van
people,
Peebles,
yeah,
who was more indie and had low budget at the time, but he, a more serious tone for him as well. Um, he was just more talented filmmaker, in my opinion. But you watch something like this, which American International Pictures really backed, which was really big on not just backing black cinema, was also like they were all over the place, all over the world, backing all different types of cinema and independently, which was nice. So like this really had some money behind it, and it that's why I think that really shows. Like, and I think that's where you got to, just like any movie, you're not going to, let's go back to the '70s. You're not going to compare Jaws to, oh man, I can't even think of like some
Piranha,
terrible movies from the '70s. You know what I mean?
Piranha
Like,
3D.
Mhm.
but like black cinema doesn't get that same fairness.
Yeah,
It's all like, well, you guys, I don't know why I'm telling you guys. I'm telling you guys out there. I'm not telling you guys. So
No, you're right.
it is, but I guess as somebody from the outside looking in, like it is evident. I can see that.
yeah.
So, and Blackula is amazing.
Oh, it is, and
Not be based on its name.
I'm ready to dive into the ratings. James hit me up. He had to take care of some personal things, but he gave it a 6.5.
Okay.
I gave this movie an 8. And how about you, Mick?
I watch this movie usually around every Halloween, so I'm gonna give this a 9.
9. Nice, nice. Worst damn,
7.5.
Johnny.
Yeah, I'm with my man Mick right here. 9.
9. Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, this was just this movie really, really, really surprised me, and I'm happy that it did. You don't get that too often. You don't get that too often where a movie just, I won't say you never get it, but where a movie, I guess Then again, I don't always go into movies with like, oh man, am I gonna like this or whatever. I just kind of go in with zero expectations. But again, I was a little nervous. And I'm glad I was wrong. I'm so glad I was wrong that this was gonna be like one of them silly. That's a big reason why I was avoiding it for so many years, because I was like, I just don't want to see another older at that, like older blaxploitation film, an older film like this, to where it's just some silly shit again. I'm like, it gets boring after a while. Like, it's fun, don't get me wrong, but it gets boring after a while. And again, this did not do that. This told, like we all said, it told a story.
Yep.
And it's an easy watch. Like, that's important. It's an easy watch. Because there's times where movies can be good, but it's just like, fuck, man. Like, when's this gonna be over? It's too long. It's this, it's that. But this was an easy watch, an hour and a half. And there were some fun, funny moments in there, like some of the club scenes at the table and all that. I'm laughing at
when he has her sit on his lap.
Yeah, like,
there are, but
I like, sit down, baby.
That's not a product of any type of cinema, or any divide in cinema. That is the 70s. Yeah. This movie is a product of its times, like with the two gay men in the beginning and stuff, and the jokes they made. I'm like, this is the 70s. This isn't like, when people watch this, I think they're like, oh, they're making fun and making jokes. I was like, no. At some point, you guys are gonna have to realize this is just how people talked at that period. And like, thankfully we've grown from it, more so than where we were at. But like, I don't think it should be like demonized when we watch the movies of that time, because that was it. But there are a lot that would stand out and say that there should be.
You can't, because again, it's a different era. Shit, you can look up in the era we grew up in. We were all born and raised in, and it's changed from then till now. The way we talk, which some of us still, with some things we still say, we may say behind the scenes more with each other, but there's a lot of things that people be uncomfortable with. Some of the conversations or some of the things that we've said growing up, and so, and it's just like, hey, that's just that era. It doesn't make it right or wrong. It's just that era, and you have to understand and respect that. That's the times. You know what I mean? As far as, and I'm not talking about the craziness. I'm just talking about the way they're talking. That's all. That's it.
Just in movies or in art, like the representation of the times. Yeah.
And I honestly, I like that it kind of gives that realism to it, because say they're making a movie, right? And you want to make it in the 70s, 80s, 90s, but you take out the way they talk in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and you try to pretty it up or make it too nice or too clean nobody's going to fucking want to watch that. Nobody's going to want to be a part of that. Especially the people from those eras, or the people that are familiar with those eras, just say with film in general. Like, what is this? This doesn't even feel real. I don't care that it's a horror movie, but this just, throw it in the garbage. I don't want this bullshit. I want it to feel like the time. I want it to look and sound, smell, take all of that. Your five senses, it needs to do that for that time. And this shit did. I mean, as far as I know, it did. I wasn't born in the 70s, but from what I've seen from film and pictures of my dad and uncles, this is what it looks like. Johnny, you know what the fro and all, you know exactly what I mean. Chris, that shit, Mick and Chris, you guys both know too. I'm not even gonna front.
I don't know anything
with certain ways, and it's just it's awesome. Like, when you see that, you're like, oh man, you get a little connection. Like, yeah, I like this.
Love it.
And yo,
I do liked it, dude.
The scene where Blackula comes in, where they're all for was it Tina's sister's birthday, right? When it was her sister's birthday, it was either Tina's birthday or her sister's birthday. Either way, whoever's birthday it was, where he gets the champagne, and this dude, the homeboy, comes out of nowhere, sits down, pours himself some champagne, hits on the waitress or the photographer. He's like, "Hey, can I come with you?" She's like, "No." She's like, "Cause in the dark," but pretty much in the dark, nothing's gonna get done but fucking, is what she said, just in a nicer way. She's like, "With you." I'm just like, oh man. Oh man. But I like the way that they talked, the way they said it, because that's probably how they would have said it back then.
Yeah.
But you knew what they meant. You knew what could happen. You knew what was being said. And one thing I pointed this out, because we were watching earlier, the red lighting when she was doing the photography stuff, the development or whatever. I always love that type of lighting in film. I was saying earlier, I like that lighting. I like all different color lighting in film, but what really stands out to me, because you see it a lot, is red lighting and blue lighting stand out a lot in horror, especially in like Italian horror. And I love how they use the red lighting in this. It was just, beautiful, perfect. And it wasn't just at that scene. It was also earlier in the film. It was like up against like kind of a brick wall, and there was like a dark red lighting. I was like, that right there just had me focused. Not just because it's my favorite color, like that is just so dope. And I love the way when movies do it to where it fits with the story and fits within the film and fits with the vibe of the film. It's that much freaking better. It's that much freaking better. And this did it right. And I feel like Italian films, the Giallos, do it fucking fantastic as well.
You should watch Tenenbaum. It's the blue.
Mm.
So you got a lot of blue influence on there. I like because I know you've seen Deep Red.
Yeah.
So which actually I think came out the same year as this, which is interesting. You know, kind of bringing or it might come out a year after, which is the Red. Yeah, like that was the beauty of. It was the beauty of the 70s. The 70s, the mainstream movies that were coming out were even experimental. You know, like The Godfather was an experiment. You know, the book did well. Like so it was a mainstream experiment. Don't get me wrong. They knew that it would make money, but to take a chance on like Francis Ford Coppola, yeah, he had earned a spot. You know, mostly doing horror movies, especially overseas. And then he popped in, but nobody knew that was going to be what it was. They were writing it as they were filming it. So if that's the standard, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is definitely going to be an experiment. And it was a free time because it was a time where more handheld filmmaking equipment was coming into play that was more readily available. Every time you see something become more readily available to consumers, there's always sort of some indie push.
Yeah, like a renaissance.
You know, I wouldn't always say Renaissance because the early 2000s was, and take it from me, I was a filmmaker in the early 2000s, or more in the late noughts, but it was not a Renaissance. We were terrible. But I think we're going to start seeing more of one come again, especially like with the push of all of what's going on here and what we're seeing. But like the 90s was definitely, if like the late 2000s was like the end of the Renaissance or like kind of where it all tampered out, like the 90s was the big Renaissance. That's where you saw the Tarantinos, the Rodriguez's, you know, Kevin Smith, things like that really pushing. But in the 70s, genres were being born, which was beautiful. You know, and like you were seeing things that were just so out there, so a lot of violent to reflect the, you know, the narrative of Vietnam, and like this is also no stranger to that. Like, you know, our movies at the time, they were all about it. So, you know, you got a lot of like I love the 70s. I love talking about the 70s. I think it was a pinnacle time in filmmaking, and movies like this are why we're still talking about today. You know, like how many movies do you think came out in the last 5 years we're going to be talking about in 20, 30 years? 3. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that's probably the number.
Sinners is definitely going to be one of them. I could say that. Sinners is definitely going to be one of them.
Fast and Furious 11 and Minecraft.
But Sinners, did you say Minecraft?
Minecraft.
Please make that your movie for Real Combat. I will wipe the floor with you.
That's a serious masterpiece right there.
Not because I'll pick a better movie, but because I'm just going to be like, I'm going to pick a popular movie. Although that was it was fun. I do like it. But to like go back to the 70s, like I've talked about this before when I was going through and I was doing my lists of like all the movies I've seen in each year. It was like over 100, almost like between 120 150 movies a year from this year, from 2024 all the way to 1980. And then you get to the 70s and it's like 35. You know, the 79 is like 35, 78 is like 23. You know, like it's like, and there's less movies coming out, not by a super amount. Like you feel like you should have seen more, but there was like so much obscurity, so much independence, so many things like, you know, people have never heard of before. I got so giddy. I was like, I have so much more to watch.
Yeah.
There's so much more to go through. And that's why I really like that era. Because then you get the 80s and that's just, well, crap.
Yeah, I feel like the 70s.
That's a lie. That's a damn lie.
No, of course not crap. I don't think it's as poignant. I think the 80s is all fluff and and
The
prettiness.
80s is definitely the bronze. Like if we're doing like metals, 90s is gold, 70s is silver, 80s is right there in the bronze.
I would hard argue that they're not even in the top 10. And it's only been around for like 125 years. So,
Maybe the 40s. The 40s might have something to say about that.
40s was tough. 40s was the 80s because it was all until you get to the late 40s, which was like, all right, war's over. We're gonna start telling real stories again. It's not gonna be all propaganda
Actually,
and
no, yeah, the
prettiness.
40s kind of sucked. I think it's like the 50s.
50s was fun. 50s was experimental. That was the studio system really kicking it up.
Yep.
60s went a little weird.
Yep.
70s, they just had the freedom.
Yep.
You know, the filmmakers, they wanted better filmmaking. All of the aging stars were dying out from the vaudeville and the theater era. They wanted something a little bit different. More film schools were starting to kick out because and kick out more students to get into the industry. It's wild times.
Yeah.
Well, damn.
And this movie was wild. You know what I like about this movie too? And maybe I'm going crazy here, but when I was watching it, I realized that like Vampire in Brooklyn stole a lot of stuff from. They stole a lot of or borrowed a lot of stuff from Blackula. I was sitting there this whole time like, I can't be the only one seeing this. Like it finally connected for me, I guess. I was just like, yeah, this is a lot of Vampire in Brooklyn in here.
And you can blame a white director for stealing.
Oh yeah,
Wes Craven.
But you know he's from Cleveland. He's from Cleveland. I can't say a bad thing about Wes. He's Cleveland royally.
Fair. I love Wes.
I actually grew up on Elm Street. The Elm Street that he was referencing, I actually grew up on Elm Street.
Ooh,
did you really?
Hey, awesome.
Yeah.
You'll appreciate this. When I lived in Los Angeles, loved to Los Angeles and everything going on. I was writing. I wrote a few different screenplays, but there was one. It was a horror. I never got to write horror as much as I'd like. But I got to write. I was writing this movie. It was adapting something called The Cabin, and I needed I wanted that energy when you're writing. So I would go down at night, and I'd go down. And it was like Orange Grove, I believe was the name of it. It was just off. I want to say it was Sunset Boulevard. It's been years. It's been like 15 years, but I would walk that street, and on one side is the Nightmare on Elm Street house, and on the other side is the Halloween house. Yeah, so I would just walk up and down the street and try and absorb this horror,
That's
greatness.
That's awesome.
Man. I didn't because listen, I'm on Horror with Sir Sturdy podcast. I mean, I'm bringing the horror greatness here now. Dumping it off, and I'm going to take a hike. I'm going to go back and find more. But that's it was always a fun experience, walking on the street and stuff. So
Johnny,
never get a chance to go.
What got you into film as far as wanting to work on film and all that?
My daddy and my mama, because they corrupted me when I was 3, take me to movies. And then,
nice.
I always say this all the time. For me, it was an animated movie. It was actually Lion King, actually.
My favorite movie of all time.
I saw it when I was 3 turning 4. Oh, no, I was already 4 because it came out December. And I was always just... spellbound. That's the word I'm using. I was always just spellbound by, how something that's I'm watching can move people, how art can really move people. And when I was a little kid, all I wanted to do was just create something that moved me, that moved somebody else as much as the Lion King, for this instance, moved me. So really, it's just my parents. They ingrained my sense of love of movies, and then as you grow up, you try to find your own thing. I had the cool parents that took me to see R-rated movies too, and I turned out great. Parents, take your kids to R-rated movies more. They won't go crazy. I actually have a funny story. I was telling my mom about this the other day. For some reason, when I was 10, I really wanted to see the movie Traffic. I don't know why. I was 10.
Traffic was 10. You were 10 when Traffic? Oh.
Yeah, I was 10 when Traffic came out. And I really wanted to see Traffic. A 10-year-old. That's kind of weird. And
that's not why I'm groaning.
I was watching it the other day. That's what made me think about it. I'm just I can't believe I beg my parents to see this. And I try to. Now I'm like, you know what? Let me check to see if the trailer. I'm like, the trailer wasn't really that impressive. As an adult, I'm like, I guess when I was a kid, I was just like, I saw all the action sequences, and I just thought, oh, I want to see this. But
Hey,
Mm.
there's
yeah,
nothing
man,
wrong with
it's
that. You're a
just
film
Game of
fan.
Thrones. Yeah,
You're a
it's just Game of
cinephile.
Thrones.
I can tell. I can tell. I can pick them out. Like Chris, no.
Nah,
30,
Uh,
he likes horror movies. He's one of those guys.
yeah,
loves.
You
yeah, I
know,
love
I get
movies,
it.
man.
I'm a
HBO
little
Max
bit
should
older.
never happened to me.
I'm a little older, so like my inspiring movies are old. You've seen them.
Mm-hmm.
I know you've seen them, but like, but they were. I was, yeah. I can just tell when there's a cinephile who's just like, if you're not watching a movie, it hurts you.
Yeah. And I love all movies too, man. You know, I'm like, you know, in our space, there's like a debate on populist filmmaking and independence filmmaking. I can see the art in all of it, you know, especially as a kid just growing up reading comics when the boom started to happen. Um, like I said, I just love stories. So you know, if you just tell me a good story, I'll sit there, I'll watch it for 2.5 hours, not 3 hours. Uh, you just have a compelling. You just have to have to have a compelling reason, a compelling story for me. I just love
Yeah.
stories, so I can see the merit in all types of filmmaking, and that's why I've never been like, you know, to like I never thought, oh, Marvel's the death of cinema. I'm like, we had cowboy movies, we had musicals.
Mhm.
I'm like, chill out.
Yeah, it is ridiculous.
Now, my next question for you, Johnny, is what is it you want to do as far as working with film? Do you want to be in front of the camera, behind the camera, or
At first, I wanted to be in front of the camera, but then I realized that the real power is actually behind the camera as a director and a writer. So, but then I realized you don't really have any power in that, so I might as well become a studio executive. No,
Don't do that. Don't do that. Then you're not a filmmaker.
yeah, I'm James Gunn.
Dude,
No,
no. Take it back, because you know that is an exception to the. If there is ever an exception to this, first of all, I've sat in studio execs offices.
yeah,
They are not filmmakers. They do
yeah, they're
not
all
make it
money men.
based on.
Yeah,
I thank God every day that they actually did give James Gunn that role,
yeah,
because DC was dying. And
yeah.
like Kevin Feige at the same time too was a filmmaker. That guy was a PA on things.
Yep.
He worked on the first Spider-Man movie, with Sam Raimi, and then years later is hiring him back. So like, to add to what you're saying, like it's no studio execs.
Yeah.
Like if you
No,
want the money, there's a different story. If you want
yeah.
to be a filmmaker, don't do studio exec.
Seriously, it's all three, man. Writing, directing, and acting. You know what I mean? Not in like the capacity of like Ben Affleck, where you the lead of the shit. I'll be a good supporting actor. I don't want to carry all the weight, but yeah, I just want to do all three really. It started as acting, then as I started just to do more and more of it, it grew into directing and writing. Yeah.
that's
And
dope.
and I got a nice little tribe over here. I got cinematographer friends and stuff. I'm like, let's go make a movie. Like I'm
That's
ready.
awesome.
Oh, well. If you have a producer, send him my way, because I'm trying to find one.
There you go. There you go.
I ain't doing it this time. No, that's awesome. It really
And
is
my
cool.
top three directors. 'Cause I know that's coming up next.
That'd be more of a Mick question, but go ahead and tell us.
My top three are all new people. There's actually no. It's not like I'm not gonna say Spielberg, even though
That's
that's
fair.
everybody's answer. For me, right now, working easy. It's Nolan, Peele, and Coogler. Cougs. I'll see anything that they are releasing. I'm there day one. Anything.
Yeah.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, those three solid choices.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
Come
I
on,
did
anytime
it.
you make Oppenheimer a historic biopic, nearly $1 billion movie, you got the juice. You got the juice. A biopic, nearly $1 billion. 994. You got the juice.
I'm trying to like those are. I'm trying to think of like how many auteurs are still running around, like or like being cultivated now. Like those are the three big auteurs right now
Yeah.
making movies.
Yeah.
Like everybody else is sort of older at that point, but I would put
Sure,
like a
dying.
Nolan and even a Coogler at one point,
Mhm.
at like if they work and they keep doing their thing and they don't fold to anyone's whim, they could be on a level. And I know people are going to be pissed about this. I don't give a fuck because it's true. Is Kubrick.
Hell yeah.
Ooh.
And
I think
that is high praise because I don't have maybe William Friedkin,
Ooh,
but
yeah.
he didn't have the story power.
Yeah.
You know, like because even like a bad Kubrick film is still really solid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Friedkin makes some great movies that I love. Like To Live and Die in L.A. is like one of my favorite movies of all time. But Hitchcock was of course an auteur too.
Yeah.
I feel like there's two types of auteurs in filmmaking. It is like the Hitchcock type or the Kubrick type, which are two different types.
Mm-hmm.
Both capable of making masterpieces in different ways. Like you can tell those two movies. And I think that's the signature of a lot of these great directors is when you watch that movie, you're like, oh, that's a Nolan movie. That's a Coogler movie. That, you know, even Sinners has the feel of Black Panther. It has the feel of Fruitvale Station. Like there's a certain tone or theme or something. I don't have the right word for it yet, but like there's something that like kind of this, not saying in world, like Tarantino's an auteur, he is, but I consider him like old guard.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't consider everybody back then, like Kevin Smith's not an auteur, but he's a fun filmmaker that I love. Yeah. But I know I'm kind of going off on directors now. You shouldn't do this to me. This is terrible. But I just love your choices, so I'm kind of playing with them. I'm like, Coogler's going to be up there. Nolan for sure. Peele, I feel is more on level of Hitchcock auteur. Again, not like lower, just different.
Just different, yeah.
Yeah. Kubrick was more epic scale.
Yeah.
You know, where what's his name? Hitchcock was more like driven by like the characters in the setting.
Kind of more intimate, yeah.
Yeah, intimate's a great word for that.
Yeah, more intimate, yeah.
I like you, Johnny.
Thank
like you, bud.
I like me too.
I like me too.
You suck, but like only on I-84 on mile marker 306 in Baker City, Oregon.
Don't listen to him.
No, don't listen to me. No, Chris, I'm having a hard time because like I want to be mean for Real Combat, but at the same time I don't.
Yeah.
I can't be mean anyway. I'm tired and I have a lot to do tonight. So
yeah, I hear you.
Time and place for everything.
I'm still wondering about this.
I'm still coming for you though.
I'm still wondering about this watch party. I'm like, I don't think all 12 Jason movies are enough for 24 hours though. I'm like, are you doing like anything in between? Because I'm like,
I think we're at 20. I think it's gonna be like 21 hours when we're done, and we're taking an hour break.
Okay. Yeah,
and we'll have little breaks in between too.
Yeah,
probably
we take it
for the first one.
Midnight.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna hop on for the first one. Now I'm gonna go to bed for work.
Nice.
Probably first. I'm gonna book it. You know what? I'm gonna hop on the first one and then I get off. So hopefully you still be performing or still watching around 7. So
PM or AM?
Yeah, PM.
Oh, we will be.
So I'll hop on first one and then towards the end.
Hey, listen, I appreciate it. That as a matter, that'll be like one of the last. That might be the last movie, and we may need your energy. So
yeah,
please do. I go for you too, because Puerto Ricans, you guys, Spanish in general, you guys can party for like 48 hours straight. Drink.
I was all right. Yeah, I was already gonna try to be there for the whole fucking thing. So I already told my girl
who's not gonna be there because he has to be ready for another
record, and then midnight. I won't see you till Friday at some point.
Wait, is it Mother Forkin?
No, Mother Forkin. It's Fort.
I thought I said it right the first time I was making it.
Fridays, but that's at 10 o'clock. So
yeah, so once that's done, I'm hopping into that. So I'm gonna be up from tonight. Well, actually, I'm staying up now. So basically, I'm up since like 9 o'clock this morning until probably 3 o'clock tomorrow or Saturday morning. I'll be up.
Right. I'm waiting for Sturdy to end this.
See what I mean? See what I mean?
I thought about it, but I'm like, I got a lot to do. It's not going to work for me.
Some energy drink.
I got to wake up early, still finish. First of all, have you done your homework?
I'm doing that when I get back.
Yeah, I need to add that to the script and make sure that I still got to do the location.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that when I get back. Like after this, I'm gonna go help my cousin, come back, do my homework, and then I'll be able to finally take a little nap.
No, I'll just do my location.
My wife a high five.
You go about your business.
You know they're making that into a TV show too.
Yeah.
Friday the 13th,
What?
Crystal
Yep.
Lake.
Yeah.
Hottest woman in the world playing
Stupid.
Pam.
Like it
Linda
came-
Cardellini. Linda Cardellini.
She's
Yeah.
playing Pam?
Like, this is-
Well, I mean, I can definitely see why. Like she would like a man would pursue her to have a
Yeah.
baby. I don't know what happens to Jason's father, so I don't want to
Good old
presume
Elias Voorhees.
on this podcast.
Probably went to go get some milk.
But
and
Linda
cigarettes.
listen, I love my wife, and nothing that will never change, and we'll always stay married.
But
Maybe. But if I was a single guy and Linda Cardellini was like, "Hey, you're cute," I'd marry that woman in a second. That she
that's all it would, that's
she-
all it would take.
is so. I love her in everything.
Oh,
I feel
She's
that way
great.
about the
Freaks and
Rock.
geeks all the way out. Like, I
I
love
think
it.
she did.
What?
You feel that way about The Rock.
Yeah, and Ryan Reynolds.
The Rock.
there you
She's
go.
the reason why. She's the reason why I like nerdy woman, man. She got me at the right time when she played Velma, and I was like hitting puberty.
Yeah.
She got me
Exactly.
at the right time. I'm like, I like nerdy woman now. This is my thing.
Felicia Day is my favorite nerdy woman now.
There you go.
Okay.
She's fantastic, and she was on everything too. She was like on Buffy
Yeah.
the last season, and like Supernatural.
But
and, like,
speaking
some
of,
fun
what's her
stuff.
name? Melissa Trachtenberg. She had passed away recently, right? Like a
R.I.P.
couple months
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah, unfortunately.
All right.
Yeah. It was like I think it was like a liver issue.
Yeah.
Oh damn.
Yeah, it wasn't like I don't think it was
Yeah,
drugs
yeah.
or anything like that.
Just crazy. I think she was like 39. I think she was our age.
Yeah.
Not mine.
I mean, close enough.
I'm too old
You're
to be
like
staying
30
up for
years
anyone
older than
else.
us. Stop playing.
Did you say 30 years older?
Tree.
Oh,
Damn.
well, if you're 39, I'm not 3.
Damn, gamer, you got it right. You hit the nail on the head. She was 39 on the dot.
What was she in when we were
He read the
kids?
article.
Harriet the Spy.
She was in
Harriet the Spy. That's right.
Well, like, so here's the
Inspector
thing.
Gadget.
I'm saying that for you. I remember her from Buffy, and I remember her from like she was a kid actor.
Yeah.
But I like Harriet the Spy. I think I was like in
Yeah,
high school
yeah,
by the time that came out. I didn't even read the books.
Oh wow.
I read
You know, I
Goosebumps.
got her confused with.
I think she was in something for that too.
Who's the other kid who was in a lot of movies around her time? That's who I got her confused with for a minute.
Oh, come on. That's not fair. That's a lot.
fucking-
Mark from
Matilda.
Step by Step.
I get her confused with the actress who played Matilda.
Oh, yeah, the
sometimes.
chick from Matilda.
Maitland. No, not Maitland. What's her name? Can't
Whatever
think of it.
happened to
was-
happened to fucking the chick from The Sixth Sense and from Push with Chris Evans?
Sixth Sense.
Nobody remembers that movie except for
What,
you.
the-
Oh,
Push?
Haley Joel Osment. I'm like, Haley Joel Osment's a boy.
No. Chick from The Sixth Sense. Oh, not The Sixth Sense. What the fuck?
You're killing me, Smalls.
You have
Dakota
me playing.
Dakota Fanning. Where was she from?
Oh, she was just in Equalizer.
She's
Oh.
like in Life. Like,
Equalizer.
where is she from?
Yeah, she was just in
But when she was a child, though.
She was in lots of stuff. She was in
Man
Man
on
on
Fire.
Fire.
That's right.
The Black Book, I think it was Little Black Book or something. Like it was a Brittany Murphy movie.
She was the kid. back then.
Yeah, when she was a kid, she was like in the cute kid and everything. But she was like 10 years removed from Trachtenberg. So like she's like only like 29 or 30, I think now. So I don't know. Again, I like my thing is like here's my memory of like my last like interest in kid stuff. And then it kind of like turned, you know, it was Power Rangers.
Ah,
Like I was really into it the first season or maybe first or second season. I don't know how many there were, but and then all of a sudden it was just like a switch flipped. I still loved like my comic books, but it felt different. You know how like it was like, hey, I'm a kid, and then it was like, oh, I like this stuff, but it feels different. You know what I mean? So like that was like my last. So like Pokemon craze, all that stuff. A lot of people talk about Hey Arnold.
Arnold.
And like
What?
Real Monsters,
Okay.
stuff like that. And I remember that. but I
You're
feel
aging
like
out.
I had already hit
Yeah.
that switch. Yeah, I aged out of that. So like when people talk about it, I'm like, I remember Rugrats, I remember Snick, I remember all that, but I was past it with
Yeah,
you
he
guys.
is. But he's 50 now, guys. So, he's a few years older than us.
Get the fuck out, you
right.
sick bastard. First of all,
That may be that.
I don't
Aging like a
ever want to talk to you again.
Aging like a fine wine, man.
See?
Hey, listen, white cracked heart.
White cracked.
Well, you
That's
made
crazy.
it.
White cracks more than a New York City driveway.
Holy.
I gave you so many great movies for this list and used 4. I hate
Again,
you.
there's only 4 movies a month. You know this.
I know, but you could like choose between
Once we get
more.
Blackula again.
And
What
then
you
people are
gonna
getting all
get?
excited for it.
Uh-oh.
Mr. Black and
Black
Mr.
and Mr.
Hyde.
I honestly would not have put these 2 high on the list either.
I
Put
just
them on
watched
the
the trailer
list.
for that the other day.
I think they should be seen, but like out of the list I gave you, these wouldn't have been the higher one.
That's why we're at the fate of the wheel.
Yep.
Sometimes we get some good ones back to back, and sometimes we get 6 months of shitty ones.
I always want I had a
Remember the fucking Family Wheel?
good idea
Oh
for
my
this for a
god!
remake for this. Like if you cast like Daniel Radcliffe as the like Dr. Jekyll part, made Mr. Black, Mr. Hyde, and he turned into like fucking Terry Crews or some shit like that.
Terry Crews. That reminds me. Oh, what is that reality show with Kevin Hart and all those dudes that they used to do? The fake reality show.
yeah.
Real Husbands.
Real Husbands of Hollywood.
Yeah.
When
yeah.
what's his name
Robert
would turn
Dick.
into Terry Crews? When
Robert Dick,
Kevin
yeah.
slapped him. That shit was hilarious. It was like his Hulk. It was Terry Crews. Oh
It was a
man.
missed opportunity.
I'll be honest with you. When that first came out, I didn't know
Mhm.
that was like fake. I'm like, did he really just start a Real Husbands of like? I'm like, because like, and I'm talking about like seeing the promos for it. I'm like, is Kevin Hart so busy? He's like the Ryan Seacrest of the black community. Where could you see Ryan Seacrest fucking everywhere, hosting everything? And that's also with Kevin. Actually, Kevin Hart might have just taken over. It might not even be a white and black thing. It just might be he replaced Ryan Seacrest.
Just doing the BET Awards.
20 years ago, we're gonna see Kevin Hart on Wheel of Fortune.
I mean, before Jamie Foxx had his stroke, Jamie Foxx was kind of filling that role with the Beat Shazam and all them game shows he was having on. Jamie Foxx was kind of in that role for a minute. But you're right, Kevin got the crown
I
now.
remember it. I remember him hosting stuff, but like he always seemed to be like around. Like he had the Jamie Foxx show early on.
This is
and then-
later in his career though, when he started doing like these
Oh,
game
shit.
shows and stuff like that. Yeah,
I have not kept up with Jamie Foxx's career.
like I think the last.
Although one of the best actors acting.
You know he's
today,
had
like-
several albums too, right?
I was gonna say not just
Well, I know he's a singer.
he's talented all around. That dude is talented.
Ryan Seacrest is not a singer. That's a different thing.
He just picks bad projects now. That's all.
Seacrest out.
I don't know. I'm kind of looking forward to this. Like, it's going to be cheap, like comedy and not comedy, action, but kind of digging this cult leader thing he's going to have coming out
word?
soon. Yeah, it's Robert De Niro's in it too. What's it? I think it's called Tin Soldiers, and Eastwood's kid is in it.
Good on Jamie. Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, and he looks like crazy in it. Like I like it's going to be a different role.
Have you
Yeah.
seen Until
I'm
Dawn
interested.
yet?
The
Nah,
video game
I-
adaptation.
Yeah.
I heard
I
it's
didn't
been getting like so many bad.
Well,
reviews.
Until Dawn. It was so bad, and I don't know anything about the fucking.
And I review movies, and I avoid
was
that shit.
terrible.
And I review movies.
It was
hmm
I was like,
Damn.
nah, I'm gonna
I-
skip this.
Yeah, I got that one on screener, and I was like, nah,
I'm, like, I'm good.
I don't want this anymore.
I'm like, I'm like,
It was so bad, dude. It was
Return
so-
to sender via email.
Sorry, studio executive
I just don't have
Johnny.
time today.
This one
Yeah.
sucks.
I'm not seeing it.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
Oh shit.
That's what you get when you're a studio. You're gonna be a
Oh,
suit.
yeah, that's true.
This is what you're gonna do.
That's
to
like
us?
I mean.
We're gonna treat you like
That's
a
how I
suit.
just make good shit.
Johnny's not gonna say Johnny loves movies anymore. It's the Johnny the
Makes
suit.
money.
He's gonna show up in a suit from now on and be like, I didn't like it because it was poor casting. My client should have been in it.
Man, if you watch, I know everybody been singing his praises. You guys need to check out The Studio. The Studio is a very good show about the Studio Zach
Funny.
side of it all.
No. That is farcical, sir. They're not that fun. That's the farcical side. Yes, they make stupid decisions.
Yeah.
Can't argue with that. That happens. You'll see plenty of times. But it ain't that fun.
Anything new coming down the pipeline from like A24 or anything like that in the horror world?
From A24?
Eddington's coming out. I think it's gonna be more
that's
thriller,
more like a thriller. You know, that's what I'm liking. I'm liking like these directors nowadays that are making like in the thriller actiony vein, because you had Soderbergh with Caught Stealing, which looks like it's gonna be an actioner, and then
he has put out 2 movies this year that I have really enjoyed. Black Bag and Presence.
Well, no, you know what? Not Soderbergh. I'm sorry. I get him and Aronofsky confused. Darren Aronofsky's directing Caught Stealing, which is like an action movie. I haven't seen Black Bag yet.
I might check it out. I don't mind Aronofsky, but he's fucking weird.
And PTA, he has this weird little action movie with Leo coming out at the end of the year. I'm just looking at the trailers that they did. I'm just like, these off-brand directors are doing something different. I'm kind of digging. I'm like, all right, you're kind of doing more mainstream shit. This is kind of weird.
Yeah, we really haven't heard much about Spielberg or Richie there, fucking Cunningham. What's his name?
Ron Howard.
Yeah, Ron Howard.
Right into Richie Cunningham.
I would have gone straight to Andy Griffin, but you went to Richie. That's
kind of true what you said earlier. Now that I'm thinking about it, it's like, it's almost like it's the passing of the torch time, out with the old and with the new.
Yeah, and it's always going to go that way. I mean, listen, Scorsese, Spielberg, all of them are going to make their movies. But at this point, like, when they make a movie every 5, 6, 7, 8 years or something like that, it's variety fare. Like, it's going to be in the mainstream things. Check this out. This it's going to be backed. They're going to be fine. And it may not be good. We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
but
I'm going to say,
like, that old guard is established already. Like, the new guard is what's got to come in.
I'm going to say a really hot take about the old guard. It's particularly Spielberg. And this might be sacrilege, but he lost me with the Fabelmans. And here's why he lost with the Fabelmans. I don't like how cocky that was, in my opinion. He's like, I'm so much of the shit. I'm going to make a biopic about my life and make it an autobiography and direct that shit and win Golden Globes and get Oscar nominations. I'm like, that's too cocky. You're too cocky for your own good, Steve. You're too cocky.
I listen. I see what you're saying. I think it was a different angle for him. That scene with John Ford at the end of the Fabelmans, right? That's his real scene. He had that. That was how he got into filmmaking. It was John Ford, like that final push with everything he's been doing. And to really give the go and get in and live there and try and make it work. So, John Ford still holds the record for the most Best Director wins.
Yeah, he does.
Of 4, and which, ironically, to add to that, like, he was known as the Western director, and all 4 wins were for movies that were not Westerns. So funny, and he could have won for some of his Westerns, but regardless, not here nor there. So if you saw the Fabelmans and you saw that scene, that was a real thing that happened to Spielberg when he was young with him. So he made this movie. He's older. He's getting up there. He wanted to tell his story, and I'll give it to him. Like, this is where I'm going to argue a little bit. Is like, and the reason I'm saying that is, well, let me finish that out. Is I think he did want to win. I think if he was going to win another one, he was hoping it would be for this and to take it from John Ford while sharing that moment. Yeah. So I think it was still a beautiful moment, and considering the Academy Awards are 1,000% bullshit anyway. And they bullshit every year. So I don't care what people are going for on it. I felt like it was kind of a slap in the face. You could have given it to him. It was like, now you're going to decide for it not to be bullshit. Yeah. Anyway, neither here nor there. Is it cocky? Is it hubris? Probably. Yeah, most likely. But for a filmmaker who's given us and given us, he is an audience's filmmaker. He has given us some of the best movies of all time. He is at the pinnacle. If you were going to put a Mount Rushmore of directors together, Steven Spielberg is 1,000% on there, 100%.
He's George Washington
because
he's George.
real. But no, but he's on there. He's definitely going to be on there. Of course, I kid around, but so to me, as a filmmaker, coming in and looking at that and being appreciative of everything he's given us, hubris is okay. He's earned the right to have that hubris to tell his life story.
Okay,
that's what was my defense of Steven Spielberg's Fabelmans. I didn't even like the movie. Like I thought it was good. It was like it's well acted. It's fine. It's a Spielberg movie. Do I think it deserves Best Picture or Best Director? No.
That's a much nicer version of the sequence of events that you have than it is in my head. Because in my head, it's straight up Scarface. He was just doing a mound of coke one day. And he was like, you know what? I'm gonna make some shit about myself. You know who I am? Steven Spielberg.
If you want it done right, you got to do it yourself. Plus, he's still around. I mean, I think it's all right. It works out. You know what I mean? Like, who else is going to, there's always that whole creative issue or whatnot, right? Back and forth with what's changed, what's this, what's that. Now we don't have to worry about it because he made it. You know what I mean? Like, we know this is the true approved story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why you have your boy. You have your boy do it. You have George do it for you. Like, hey, George, I haven't directed in a while. Direct my life story.
No. See, like if George Lucas walked out and was like, "I'm going to make a George Lucas movie," that's when I'd be like, "You tuck that hubris back in, pal. Well, you've given us a lot, but like you tuck that hubris back in. All right. You've allowed a lot of crap to happen."
The other thing that I kind of like about it is that it's fitting, right, for his lane. It's not where usually we would get a tell-all book, right, or autobiography, or you know what I mean? This is in his lane of his craft, him making a movie about, you know what I mean? So it's fitting. This is him writing his memoir, you know what I mean?
That's true. That is true.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
But we're gonna get on out of here, little people, because a lot of stuff coming up this weekend, especially tomorrow. We're gonna get to
make yourself big on the back
tonight.
Yeah,
midnight. I'm gonna make myself big, but before I do, what do you guys have coming up?
I have your fucking thing at midnight.
I'm gonna make a guest appearance tonight and tomorrow on the watch party. And I also, if you go to the Johnny Loves Movies podcast tonight around 10 o'clock, you're going to get a new episode where I talk about the latest Predator movie, Killer of Killers.
Ooh.
And the Predator lore, and what I think that what's in store for this franchise. That's what you're gonna get from me.
Nice. Worst Damn, what about you, man?
Got your movie stream going. I'll be probably there. I'm gonna try my best, but I'll be there for most of it. Then I got Motherfucking Fortnite Friday at 10 p.m. tomorrow night, and then Saturday. It's supposed to be Super Saturday. I usually do something related to like superheroes or anything, play Marvel heroes, Batman, Spider-Man, shit like that, or My Hero Academia, anything that's superhero related. But I might just take it easy and just get on camera and chill with y'all off Saturday and Sunday. If not, I'm gonna take a day off. I'll get back Sunday, and then Monday is Motherfucking Fortnite Friday, and that's every Monday at about 11 a.m. So help you get through your week, start your week off right, get through some shit in life, hear some words of inspiration and motivation, and keep pushing on that journey.
He means Motivational Monday. Still learning English. I'm teaching them, though, people.
He's a citizen.
I didn't say he wasn't. It doesn't mean.
I know. I'm not telling
Gonzalez
you.
on it. I'm not bad.
No.
He's Puerto Rican. He's a citizen.
No. I actually, if I can just say, because I guess I probably should start promoting myself more. I never do, but go check out the Scene Snobs. There is not going to be a new podcast this week because we are going to be busy as hell. But we have tons of stuff coming out. My review of Ballerina will be up next week, along with How to Train Your Dragon and Deep Cut.
Nice.
So I'm looking forward to Ballerina.
He's all right.
So first, I'm gonna start with what's coming up. Not tomorrow's big event. Next week, Dr. Black, Mr. Hyde, 8 o'clock Eastern time, The crew should be back in full effect. Make sure you guys tune in and check us out while we review this film. And then this Saturday, we're going from action, and then with tomorrow slashing to tears. Yes, popcorn and pints.
You know, it's still a fun, adventurous movie. There's just some tears.
Listen, I've never seen it, so everybody that's told me about this movie is talking about something. It's a sad movie, and they cried, and I might cry. That's all I've heard about this movie. Yes, I heard it was good, but that was like the main focus of this. So we're going from all that to this right here, which I am excited for. And yeah, let's see what it does. It'll kind of bring us all down, kind of calm us all down from the craziness, I guess. I hope. We'll see. But this right here, people, oh my gosh. As you can see, streaming June 13th, 2025 at midnight. Every single Friday the 13th film, not the fan films, just the studio films, 12 films, over 20 hours. And it is going to be a long, fun, amazing, great slashing day. I cannot wait. It's Jason's birthday. Happy slash day to Jason, by the way. It's his freaking birthday. It's the 45th anniversary of this marvelous franchise, of my favorite franchise, of something that's kept me into horror, got me into horror, and kept me into horror for damn near 35 years now. Damn near 35 years. That's saying something for me. I would love for you to be here. This is something I've been doing since childhood. Just anytime these movies are on, sitting down, getting in front of the TV and pulling myself in. I don't care if I was watching this shit by myself. I don't care if I was watching this shit with my brother, my cousins, friends. I had to watch it every Friday the 13th, and we're doing it Friday the 13th. And I want to watch it with every single one of you out there. I want you to be a part of this journey. This dream, because I love these freaking movies. Like, it's awesome that I get to share them with you, to share this experience with you guys. So please tune in and check us out. It's going to be a long day, but it's going to be a fun day. And Mick, my producer, he did a lot of fucking work. So tune in for that alone, and give this man his flowers, because he's a dope producer. And we're going to end on that note. Make sure you show all these guys some love and support with what they do, because they bust their ass. They love what they're doing. We all love what we're doing. Show some all love, and I'll see you in your nightmares. Peace. Don't be afraid.